Let me get back to telling y'all the greatest story ever told. I'm back, y'all. I done hit my wine. I done rolled up. I'm more comfortable now. I think I got my little swag back. So, like I was trying to tell y'all, Cherokee, which we've been saying is Cherokee. What I'm trying to tell y'all is, I believe we've been saying it wrong because when I looked at it, the word Cherokee, I said, we just using the American language, so you know how we talk and stuff like that. And I started looking down, and I said, what if I try something a little bit different? And it said Cherokee, Cherokee, Cherokee instead of Cherokee because we just saying it like that. But if you look at it, I'm starting to make a little sense saying that Cherokee. And then I started digging on that word and it came out Karakata. And I said, what is the Karakata? I said, how did I see this? And, not too many people caught this, but I did. And I started digging and looked. And guess what I looked up? I got a hit on Karakata because that's Cherokee. It's a secret, but it ain't no secret no more, y'all. What I'm trying to tell you is the Cherokee is actually probably pronounced something a little bit different, than what we used to call in the Cherokee. It's probably Cherokee, secret word for Karakata. And I looked up Karakata and I got a hit. Now this is what's finna blow y'all mind. I got a hit with somebody called Genghis Khan with the Karakata, y'all. Now I said, what is going on? It blew my mind because I'm just searching on some slavery stuff, but now I'm dipping and dabbing in history. So I said, let me do my research. Let me humble myself. Let me back up off the subject because it might be, a little bit too much for everybody to take on right now. But this is what I'm saying. I looked up the United States wars when they first started again, 1776. And what I saw was the next 10 or 20 years, them fighting Cherokee. So I say, who are the Cherokee? Who are these copper colored Indians that they fighting? But now today look kind of Mexicanish. And I don't mean no harm or whatever, Asianish. That's how the Indians look today. And I say, what happened to the copper colored races? And I said, well, America must have destroyed them or fought them or, what have you. And that's where we get this slavery because I believe that the Indians that they was fighting was us, and they made us their slaves. Now, this word Cherokee is a secret because it's really Karakee, Karakata. So it's like a hidden word in there. And when I looked up Karakata, I got a hit for, somebody called Genghis Khan. And I said, that's too much history all in one. So I'm going to slow it down and I'm going to go back to something that make more sense to my people. What is history telling me? It's leaving little drops. It's leaving little drops that got me questioning a lot of narratives, but I only want to talk about the slavery part. So I said, what if the Indians that they was fighting, they made them the slaves, which is us, because it said the copper colored races. So what happened to these brown skinned people that, y'all was already here and y'all came? What y'all do with them? I mean, common sense tell us, yeah, they killed a lot of them off, but wouldn't you make them your slaves? Yeah, of course. Of course, it's the American way. Is where they come from, making somebody else do their work and all that. We can call it what we want, but it's a word for it. They call it slavery. But they might, trick us with it. But what I'm saying is, after digging and doing my research, I found out that the so-called Indians that they found here was copper colored. So that's brown skinned people that they found here. And I want to know what happened to them. Apparently, America went to war with them. And when I looked up the wars of the United States, again, I say, the next 150 years or 200 years in their history is all Indian wars. So I say, who are these Indians? It might be the copper colored races found here. And it said Cherokee, which is a secret name for Karakata, some type of Genghis Khan flow. And I ain't trying to go into all that, but some telling me it might be a little bit truth in Genghis Khan or anything that I'm looking up because it's just popping up out of nowhere, which sound kind of ridiculous now, but if you follow my journey and we just starting off, this might be the greatest story ever told, y'all. And that's what I started off, and that's how I'm going to finish. So what I'm saying is, I saw a lot of brown skinned people, so I knew something not right. I heard the most terriblest story I ever heard, but I said, well, how come my people not so dark skinned like they should have been? Because you can't change a person's DNA. And when I looked up American wars, I found out that they was fighting the Cherokees. So I said, who are these Cherokees? I found out that their name is probably pronounced a little bit different than what we said and what they called themselves. And when I found out where they originated from or where they come from, they stock or anything like that, I found out that it's a little secret, but everybody should know it by now. I done repeated myself multiple times. So I started digging on the other Indians that was found in there near the United States because it's so many. But let's get some familiar names. So we talking about the Iroquois. Why not? Wasn't that a big old group of Indians like they told us? And they must have been brown skinned too, because how can one people be brown skinned and they neighbors not be? Of course your neighbors the same. Open your doors outside. When you was younger, probably most people, when you walk out your front door, you saw somebody look just like you. I'm just trying to make sense with what I'm telling y'all. When you go outside every day, or when you was younger, most likely you saw a person that looked just like you. Nowadays, you never know. I don't mean no harm, but it's just like it was back in the day. So I started digging and digging and digging because now I'm intrigued by what I'm finding. I'm finding that the people I see today are not brown skinned Indians. They are Asian looking Mexican slash who knows. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a DNA type of person, but I know my own eyeballs have seen that they don't look like what the definition was. So what am I missing? Could they be the people that came in and helped destroy us? Am I trying to say? Possibility. I mean, we got traitors amongst our midst, and of course, ops every day. So ops come and go, right? So I'm just saying, could the Indians we see today be the same people that betrayed us and backstabbed us and took over what we had? I'm just saying, the United States, they work mysterious ways and they tricky. So why not, my enemy is my friend trickery? Ain't that where we got that from? That sound like something they came up with. All this stuff based in truth, man. I'm not just making this up. Like I said, I started looking at the United States and I said, well, if they fighting wars for 150 years, when did they have time for slavery? Because it's not like you the richest country. You just got into it with Britain, who is the richest, and you a country just starting off. You ain't got no money. You ain't got no resources. All you got around you is these black people. And guess what? We get a story called slavery, y'all. Imagine that. Imagine that. I just went through history for the last 200 years and I speeded it up in 5 minutes. Now, what I'm saying is, when America first started, they just left Britain, England, wherever they come from, wherever we come from. I'm not trying to say nothing different. We started our own. It became an independent country. And what I'm saying is, we didn't have the resources. We didn't have this. We didn't have that. So what else did they have? Well, the dictionary says you got black people all around you. And now we get a story called slavery. Smack dead in the middle. Imagine that. So I'm going to slow it down and speed it up from time to time. But what I'm trying to say is, somebody missing something. Somebody ain't telling us the whole story about slavery. Yeah, slavery happened, but it's might be a slightly different story than based on what they said. Because I found out that the United States wasn't the first country here in the so-called United States of America, North America. They wasn't the first country here. We had France, Spain, England, like I told you, because that's who we come from. England, they said, but it's other countries that was here already for 50 years, 100 years before them. United States started doing expeditions in the 1830s, 40s, and we hear about it. We hear about someone called Lewis and Clark and this and that. And when you look it up, these numbers say 18-somethings. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like 1850s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So you start thinking, hold on. The United States just started in 1776, and then 100 years later, they said they had a civil war. So in 100 years, they was fighting Indians. Like I'm telling y'all, when did they have time to do this so-called mass slavery? Where did they get the money from? They're lying. Somebody is telling us a bad story. It's like a bad joke or a bad dream. And we all woke up and we tired of eating that same story. So I started questioning the narrative, because if you're a country that's just starting off and you at war with England, this, that, and the third, you're going to try to get some allies, France. That's where we get the Statue of Liberty, this, that, and the third. I know a little bit of history now. I'm going to try to speed it up. But what I'm saying is, they made allies, this, that, and the third. When did they have time for this slavery, so-called mass? I mean, boats come in every day, every night. They can't sleep because they're getting so much money off us. I mean, come on. Come on, y'all. But they fighting Indians every day, all day. That's because we the Indians, y'all. We was in their ass. It wasn't no this slavery, this, that, and the third. It was more like they was going from town to town fighting us, making us their slaves. I mean, think about what I'm saying. We some kick ass type of people. It's only so much we gonna take. But when you knock on our front door, we ain't ducking shit. So you already know how we is, and I'm just saying it clear because I don't want to bite my tongue right now. Think about it. If somebody knock on your front door, you ain't ducking. So why would we duck? When it's on our front door, we go to war. And what I'm saying is, long story short, we the ones that lost and they made us their slaves. I'm sorry to tell you the terrible story, but somebody got to tell you. You rather think you come from Africa, this, that, and the third, instead of hearing the truth about how you battled it out. Yeah, we lost in the end, but they're not gonna tell you how many victories we had or how long we held them off for hundreds and hundreds of years. This might be the greatest story ever told, y'all. I'm gonna pause it right there.